96% of entrepreneurs have not cracked $1 million in revenue. The problem is in money is that people believe in 3 faulty philosophies in order to create wealth, and they don't really get you where you want to go.
Okay.
I'm sure you've heard it takes money to make money.
Oh, yeah.
High risk equals high return.
Yep.
In it for the long haul. So most people think that wealth is a function of how much money they can save, how much risk they can take, and how long they can wait. That's very dogmatic and dangerous.
Welcome to the Maverick Entrepreneur podcast, where business success meets personal purpose. Here we empower entrepreneurs to strike that perfect balance between massive growth and unwavering values. Dive deep into strategies, inspirations, and stories that ensure you set your foundation in faith and don't compromise your family on your ascent to the top. Welcome back to the Maverick Entrepreneur. We are part 2 with the one and only Garrett Gunderson. Hopefully, I don't know if I'd watch part 2 unless you've watched part 1. Some of you know what I'm talking about. Recommend your friends watch part 1 because they will be overwhelmed and may not fully understand what we're diving into right now with part 2. So, hey, welcome back. Thanks for flying in from, You flew in from DC, actually.
Yeah, I spoke there yesterday.
How many people?
700, I think, 600, 700.
Wow.
Big room.
I was actually curious. I mean, you've worked with a lot of heavy hitters. Do you got a couple favorites, guys that we might know that you kind of like? Like I went to a Genius Network one time, and you were speaking.
Yeah.
I was a guest, actually, and they usually don't let guests, and I got in. I think it's because I had sushi downtown with Joe Polish one time, and I'm
going to have dinner with him tomorrow.
Yeah, so I remember you were speaking there. It was mind-blowing, but there were heavy hitters in the room. Back then, I was like, what? But who are some people like in your world that you like?
I mean, we talked about Rob. He's such a stud.
What was that book you said you just read that I have to read?
The Creative Act?
Yes.
By Rick Rubin?
Yes. You said that's bell ringing you right now.
Dude, I'm on my second read. I've listened to it twice.
What?
I mean, Rick Rubin.
Can you write that down?
He produced LL Cool J when he was 16 years old, Eminem, Beastie Boys, but also he has a documentary on Hulu with Paul McCartney. He did Red Hot Chili Peppers, Blood Sugar, Sex Magic. He turned them down before that because he felt like the energy was wrong, and it was a time they were on heroin and not doing well, and he just felt the energy. He's not a musician. He just feels the art and says, this is it. And he creates space for the person to be an artist.
What?
So he'll try different things. If they hit blocks, he's just super creative, but he's all about that. Creating the art is the value.
What? Okay.
The process of being in flow is the value.
Okay.
And that you have to be able to receive it by taking care of yourself and doing the work. Otherwise, it leaves.
Yeah, you're a big energy guy. Like negative energy affects you, and I'm the very same way. Yeah. It's probably like I don't like being around negativity or drama. It's like it's funny though because I threw it out there. You've been in all these big circles, and you didn't jump at throwing people out there. So, I think I would feel the same way with when you're around inauthentic things. They don't feel right.
Yeah, it's like I was a percent owner in Ben Greenfield's company after being his financial guy for a long time. Mm-hmm. And we've hunted together. And I mean, he in the health space, I brought him into UAC that time, which you're part of. And yeah, I've worked with, I was just at a press conference for RFK and, Dan Pomp was there. He's a client. Like I have all these people but I was friends with them first.
Yeah.
Well,
Ben Greenfield, man, he's so funny. I remember following him because of you and everything else. And I was like, okay, cool. Until I found out how old he was. I thought he was like 22. I was so annoyed. I go, now I'm pissed because you're a lot older than I thought you were.
Yeah.
I respected your nerdness, and I loved how OCD you are about doing deep dives and everything. But no, it pays off. If I knew I could look like that, dude, you're married with kids, and I'm thinking you're 22 and just like.
He's a great dad. He's got 2 twins, and I remember he calls me one day. He's like, hey, do you want to go hunting? I was like, sure, man. When? And he told me, I'm like, I'll make it work. And so I go buy this 7 mag and I'm like, send a picture. He's like, no, dude, we're bow hunting. I was like, dude, I have a bow. So I hired the best coach I could find. I would go shoot 5 days a week. I would go to my cabin and shoot a couple 15 arrows at a time, multiple times a day. And I got an elk my first time out, which was just crazy. And it unlocks ancestral DNA when you shoot an elk with a bow. It's insane. And then,
I grew up trying to be a bow hunter. Mm-hmm. Dude, I think the coaching part I should have done.
Dude, I took my dad bow hunting, and this last year he didn't get a tag. There was another year where he got a tag and I didn't, and I was right next to him at 70 years old when he killed an elk.
No.
I got to watch it. I got to help drag it. It was a really cool experience, and we get all this time together. We drive down to New Mexico together. But yeah, so when I went with Ben, and you know, Ben's a much better archer than I am. Like
Really?
wins these championships.
What?
But I just had the luck that I got the elk that year.
Yeah.
You know? So, and this year I go elk hunting and my dad's with me and I miss this elk. It just comes in running super fast and then it stares at me for like a minute. And I'm like, I should range him, but if I move, I think he's going to run off. So then I just like, as he starts walking, I shoot at him, but I didn't range him. So I shot right over him. And then I like range him again, but then I rushed the second shot. So I missed 2 shots. And I tell my dad, because the first time I took him, he missed 3 elk. And I go, so you feel better now that you know that I've missed? Because I've killed 4 elk with a bow and like since 2020. So I'm like, it's kind of crazy the percentage. And he goes, no, man, I feel worse now that I know it's hereditary. But that's just funny, dude.
That is funny, man.
That's a cool experience.
Those are good stories, man. Those are good things. Well, hey, in this one, I want to talk about strategies.
Yeah.
I know we talked about, you probably saved me $140,000 over a cup of coffee this morning.
Yeah.
But what are you doing now? What's your new play? What's your new company? What are you doing to help people? Because you're really good at finding waste, really good at helping people, introducing people with the right strategies, with the right people. Because you've told me things in the past and I was like, hey, yeah, I'll just do it. But I couldn't find people to execute it. But you're great at knowing those people.
Yeah, so what I realized the problem is in money is that people believe that in 3 faulty philosophies in order to create wealth, and they don't really get you where you want to go.
Okay.
I'm sure you've heard it takes money to make money.
Oh, yeah.
High risk equals high return.
Yep.
You're in it for the long haul. So most people think that wealth is a function of how much money they can save, how much risk they can take, and how long they can wait. Mm-hmm. That's very dogmatic and dangerous. So I realized the real framework for wealth is, number 1, make more money. Number 2, keep more of the money you make by being more efficient. Number 3, grow your money aligned with your investor DNA. So become a better investor. But 4, you always grow yourself. So I created this framework that's the Wealth Accelerator, and I have a program called Multiplier where I teach on one of those 4 topics every week in a community where people come on, who I can see them, you know, it's on their videos on, and then they can ask questions, but then they get one-on-one coaching to build out their plan. And we start with a deep dive and say, are they overpaying on tax? Are they overpaying on interest? Are they overpaying on, you know, non-performing investment fees or high commissions? Are they overpaying because they didn't design their insurance properly? So we begin by saying, let's find momentum that creates more cash flow. In that deep dive, we figure out what their financial confidence is, what's going on, and then we do a report of findings to say, here's what can be done. And if you join our program, it's a 4x return on your money because of the savings that we're going to do. And we invite them in if it's a fit. And so it's called Multiplier, and I started July 3rd of 2024. So it's relatively new, but at the same time, I've been doing finance for 25 years.
Yeah.
So I said, what is it that I could do that makes this affordable? Because, Matt, 96% of entrepreneurs have not cracked $1 million of revenue. Financial advisors don't have a lot of incentive to work with them because most of their wealth is in their business.
Yeah.
They don't have a huge amount of assets to manage, and they're all pretty much first generation, you know, starting to create wealth. So I'm like, I want to help those people.
Yeah.
That's why I created Multiplier.
And it's a niche. And here's why I think it's brilliant. Because if you can get in and they build trust and rapport with you and you can help them figure out, guess what? You can manage a lot more money.
But I don't even care if I'm not an investment advisor. I have a partner that is.
Yeah.
I don't care if we don't manage a single dollar of theirs.
Yeah.
I'm here to help them improve cash flow, improve confidence, and get on the financial track. And that allows me to
legacy.
be an advocate for them instead of being an advisor that's doing a transaction. So it's a nuance that's really important.
Okay. I think that is really important. You know, I was thinking about all my Maverick entrepreneurs, and the one thing is, you're right. They're trying to justify even some of that coaching to figure out. But I said, well, listen, if there's no ROI, you shouldn't be doing it.
Right.
But then when you get it, listen, you got to, first of all, we got to figure out how to accelerate and build wealth. Then I need to show you how to protect and keep your wealth.
Right.
And then I got to show you what to do with the legacy part of that. Because once you have it all, well, one, you got to learn how to get it, then to accelerate it, then to battleship it, protect it, and then the legacy part. You can't just.
And I think what the Rockefellers do has outsold all my other books combined.
Dude, that book changed my life. I gave it out.
That's the legacy book. And so it comes down to only 5 things that matter for legacy.
Why is it so hard to find that book?
It's now, it's much more available. What happened was when I sold my company, there was a little bit of an issue with intellectual property rights. I bought them back. And so now, it's very available. It's like 4 versions of it are in the top 20 of wealth management on Amazon right now.
Yeah.
Ebook, audiobook, hardcover, softcover.
Well, there was a season I couldn't get it.
Yeah, it was out of print for a while, and like people were selling used copies for $75.
Dude,
if
people call me and they go, "Is this a book? What the heck? Is there a gold bar in the end of it?" I said, "I don't know what's going on. Let me find out." So that's good to know.
So it's back, and so those 5 things are: number 1, you've got to have the right trust. So a specific trust, like either a revocable trust if you're starting out and you don't have a lot of wealth, or an irrevocable trust, which is known as an asset protection trust, which means you can own nothing but control everything. And yet it protects from liability, and it can remove a bunch of future tax. The second thing is the right type of insurance, because the Rockefellers are really smart where they're like, we'll buy insurance on every heir, and when they die, it replenishes the trust. So they don't have to rely on banks. It's funded from the death benefit every time one of their heirs dies. So that's why they're moving on to the 7th generation of wealth right now.
Yep.
Right. And then the next thing is a family office, having a cohesive, comprehensive, communicating financial team. A lot of people have fragmented teams that don't agree on everything, and it creates chaos. And then when they die, their kids move on to a different advisor that doesn't understand the values of the family.
Yep.
The 4th thing is a family retreat. Look, every major organization or religion have 3 things in common: rituals, traditions, and symbols. I grew up Catholic. We had the cross is the symbol. Every business, Apple has an apple. Like, it's just, there's always a logo. I have a family crest for my family that my kids can tell you what it is, what it stands for, and it represents who we are, and it's above the mantle at our house. We have traditions. We have a thing called the Christmas roast. We get together, we mock and tease each other relentlessly and laugh hysterically, and then we have a meeting afterwards that we ask really important questions about family. We have the Summer Olympics. We get together, we play really silly games.
We have Summer Olympics. Have you seen my video?
No, but maybe I did, and I just stole the idea. Who knows?
Okay,
but I mean, it's a good tradition because it gets us together to have fun, but then we can actually have meaningful conversations. And so rituals are, like I've stayed here where you guys are playing music in the morning, everybody's having breakfast, having conversations, like we have certain daily rituals. Like when I would drive my kids to school before they were over 16, I'd be like, well, what are the 3 things you're most grateful for? What are the 3 things that would make today great? And tell me what your mantra
You're great
is.
at that.
How do you? And so I just have these conversations with them. That's part of the ritual. My wife would have a ritual at night. What was your high? What was your low? Right. So we just create rituals that kind of reinforce who we are, and we can tell stories. Then the last thing, the 5th thing, is the family constitution. So you and I, we've been through Lifebook, which is an amazing program.
Yeah.
That was kind of the precursor for me for a family constitution.
Your family constitution changed my family's life, and what was amazing is I have a couple master inner circle, I would call it, and we went to Lake Powell. I sat them all down, and I said, "Hey, I'm going to teach you on why this is important." This is so funny. I sat around every morning. We would get up, husbands and wives, before the kids were up. We're talking crack of dawn, watching the sunrise over Lake Powell, and I'm teaching this over 4 days, going through mine, trying to get them. Amazing, only one of those couples. It's come back. And I literally, for a moment, I told my wife, they're dead to me. Joking. They if they can't figure out, this is the most important thing, but some people don't fully get the value of it. But listen, if something happened to them, something happened to my wife and I, and my father-in-law, mother-in-law, or my family stepped in, dude, there's
a guiding document.
That guiding document is
this is
life.
Who we are, what we stand for.
Yeah.
So
and about money philosophy. That's what you taught me.
I have a business partner, lives here in San Diego. His name's Matt. He developed AI tools to get people's family crest and the family constitution created.
No.
So you can talk to the AI and it'll create it, or you could type it in from the questions and prompts.
No.
So it's a legacy course that we built, and it makes it so easy. I've walked clients through it in person,
and people watching this can get that legacy course.
Yeah, we'll get a link, and they can grab that course. And
man,
it's so nice because it took me years to build my family constitution.
Yeah,
they'll get it done in hours.
No,
it's crazy.
It's
so good.
You ruined my sleep pattern. No joke. After you taught me that, and after you gave me some stuff, it was the first time I pulled an all-nighter since college. And every night I was up till 2 in the morning. My wife was getting so mad at me. I would literally spend from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. every morning for probably 4 weeks because I was so driven by it, because it hit such a value. So important to me that I literally put this thing, I crush it out. And when I teach this to my friends thinking and they don't, I get so pissed, and I got to figure out how to counsel myself.
The internet teaching the future generation, or did they want their intent to teach it? That's the thing that we have to consider here.
People need to wake up and realize someone is teaching your kids. Right now, it's YouTube. Is the number one thing that's parenting kids right now. It's like, babysitter, YouTube, but it changes their wealth, it changes their philosophy, it changes their family dynamic. And if they don't figure that out, it's amazing. I see more and more kids that have the same scarcity mindset. I just heard, now that my friends or my kids are getting old enough and they have their little friends come over, one of the friends said something about money the other day. I told Maverick, hey buddy, did you hear what your friend said? I know, Dad, he's not a money magnet though.
Right.
And I said, I know, but I don't want him influencing you around money. I need you to influence him. He goes, okay.
Yeah. I'm
thinking to myself, dude, I got to brainwash my kids. Every time they come home, I got to take their brain because it's getting conditioned by the world, and I got to wash it.
Yeah. I mean, dude, the thing is, I get so many people that will say, I wish they'd teach finance in school. I'm like, that would be the worst idea we've ever seen. So just imagine this. You have someone stuck in a socialist system. They get paid for time and effort. They all feel underpaid. They're all overtaxed. They're underappreciated. They're teaching a bunch of different topics, of which some they might be expert in, some they might have to teach because it's part of the curriculum. And none of them are going to be expert in money. And we're going to add their scarcity mindset. So The Economist, I read clear back in 2013, they were talking about this study that kids that were taught about money in school were worse off than ones that weren't.
No. Yeah. That's a real study.
Well, think about it. When you're indoctrinated thinking there's not enough, coming from lack, that it's something to be afraid of, it's something that you vilify billionaires, all this kind of stuff, then people all of a sudden feel money's bad and wrong, but they want more of it. So they have this weird juxtaposition where they feel guilt and shame for wanting something that would be natural as a part of value creation, and therefore get stuck in a bad system.
It was amazing. I was just talking to the guy yesterday. We had a breakdown. He was having a little bit of meltdown about everything with the stock market right now. And I said, okay, that's amazing. I said, basically it got political, unfortunately. I'm like, you don't think he knew that was going to happen? Of course, you don't think.
And were we okay holding up the stock market through printing money?
Exactly. That's what I said.
You're not actually, it's a false getting ahead, because if inflation's at 10% and the market does 10%,
yeah,
you didn't get ahead.
Zero-sum game.
And if you're just adding money that's artificially propping something up, so I get that we are characters that don't understand economics. We're economic toddlers. So we make justifications and judgments based upon data that's not fully accurate. Here's an example. People are really clear that if they have a loan, they pay interest on that loan. Mm-hmm. Almost no one's clear that if they pay cash, they forfeit the right to earn interest, that there's an interest cost on both sides. If I pay cash for something, that money can't be invested in an interest rate. Now, if I'm a really good investor, that's expensive. And right now I have a 2.75% mortgage that's fixed for 30 years. Even though I have the money to pay it off, I don't pay it off because I also have money in cash value life insurance that's paying over 5% tax-free right now. So it would cost me more to pay off a mortgage. Yet people that are so rudimentary with their thought processes
will pay off the mortgage.
Will pay off a mortgage. And I'm okay with that if that's really important to them. But to have gurus that are so dogmatic saying, once you pay off your mortgage, everything will be better, they're ill-prepared because they haven't created cash flow.
People don't understand you're a value creator.
Right.
What I love about you, you've always talked about value creation. You've talked about wealth. You've talked about, and I mean, you've taken care of some heavy hitters' money. So you know what it takes to generate and create wealth. But that you beat to a different drum. One thing that I really, just to tell a story about you real quick, I remember when you were saying your marriage was mediocre, you pretty much said, that's it, I'm going to do something different, and you're like, I'm going to become the best husband in the world. But you had a little catchy phrase. I
created a vision where I said, I'm going to be a premier romantic and extraordinary husband.
Yeah.
That was the container in which I was going to live from.
You hired a personal assistant just to help you once you got into it, because you realized you ran out of ideas after a couple.
Yeah, so I had a list research. On OmniFocus was an app, and it would just be date night ideas. And my assistant would say, here's things that are going on in the city. And, you know, we did all this kind of stuff. And it was especially important at that time because we had young kids.
Yeah.
And so it was great for my wife to just have a break, just to
And how did
go
you
out
do?
and-
What did you do, and how did you?
The very
execute
first thing I did was for our anniversary, I hired a quartet. And I had a camera guy on the second floor where he could film. And I invited like 10 of our friends. I had them all say their best practices in marriage. We had a dinner, then we watched our original wedding video, and then went to the the hotel that we stayed at the night of our wedding, which I realized that our taste had grown quite a bit over the, over the 10 years, but it was still kind of cool and nostalgic. And then the second thing I did was I flew to Chicago, where I said, who's 3 couples that have a good marriage that are ahead of us? They're older than us. And what are their best practices? Because I'd tell my wife, we need to put each other first. She's like, you put your business first. It was like argument. So she now talked to these ladies that were like, well, here's what we did, and we got through tough times, and here's how we did it. And I'm talking to the guys, and I'm taking notes, and then we like kind of declared our love in front of them, and then we did a second honeymoon. Our friend had a penthouse in Chicago with a Japanese garden, and it was a sex pad. Let's just face it. It was just a sex pad.
That's where I got engaged.
I mean, that place is phenomenal.
No, I got engaged there.
It's a good place to get engaged.
Oh, how do I go from there? I mean, I started the bar so high with my wife. It's amazing she's still with me, because we started off at that penthouse. He hired a chef to cook for us in the corner. You know who the chef was? Wolfgang Puck.
What?
You never heard this story?
No.
Like, he went over the top for me.
Dude, that's crazy. Because
very grateful.
They had this box, and we opened it, and it was like, go to the store, buy this thing. And
here's next level.
It was phenomenal. And so the crazy thing, man, it was just such a good experience, but it was like hard because going from mediocre to extraordinary had a lot of emotional roller coaster. Like in business, I didn't take things as personal. I could get over them, but in marriage, it like really hurt.
Yeah.
But we got through it and made the changes, and those guys were really helpful, and that was
you sustained
our second honeymoon was better than our first.
Yeah, but let me tell you that what was impressive is anybody can start a thing, but it's how you finish. You finish strong.
Right. We have a great relationship, man.
Yeah,
I
could tell you guys. I knew you before, and to see the synergy, if you will, or the connection point, I think your connection really shifted.
Yeah,
it was cool to see. And you threw some fun parties in your backyard. You would hire live bands.
Dude,
I just want to tell you,
when you came to that Rockstar party, how fun was that, dude?
Bro, everything that you do is so next level. You help people think bigger.
That we had that live band that really thought it was the 80s?
They thought.
They showed up looking like the 80s before they even got dressed up.
No, they were
for
full
the thing.
send. They were full send.
It was nuts, man. And I remember my wife saying, do you think it's a good idea to have the Rockstar party with all these potential clients? Because I spoke that whole day, right?
Yeah.
We had an auditorium that we were in, and then we come to the house, and we had this like back garage,
risky, dude.
And like I was up on the rooftop. I remember I said, look, I have room for 4 clients to work with me. 4 can work with this person on my team, 4 on this person. And so and the other day, everybody hands in their contracts. 2 guys that handed in a contract to me after that night said, we're going to work with so-and-so on your team. And 2 other guys were like, no, we want to work with you. So I was like, hey, cool. It's I just want to be myself.
Yeah, you got it.
I just want to be expressed.
You've always been that way.
It's growing up in Utah, it's hard to be that way to a degree.
Yeah.
There's a lot of judgment in Utah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fortunately I live in Utah County where it's especially prevalent.
You broke the mold though.
Oh, yeah.
They can't contain you, man. They can't contain you. Well, if you had to help a couple, if you had to drop some knowledge, where can people start? Like the assessment thing.
Yes, I have a financial health assessment.
Yeah, financial health assessment.
Yeah, if they go to
explain that and then tell them where they can go, because every one of you watching, you're in denial. Most people don't know where they're at, and they're more comfortable by sticking their head in the sand. When I finally work with entrepreneurs and I start to unlock them, I go, bro, it's okay. Like, let the walls down.
We got to be a steward over this stuff. If you're sloppy about it, it costs you so much.
Yeah. Oh, and listen, everything I've learned is out of pain, not pleasure. Hanging out with guys like you, I've realized to get to pleasure quicker, but I've been pain motivated. And because you know what, the one thing that's positive about me, I just know I can create wealth. So I have no problem creating wealth. It's just a problem of
keeping and creating are 2 different things.
Yeah,
right?
no, I just trust people. I've done stupid things, or I haven't called
no agreements or whatever.
No
it is.
agreement.
Yeah,
I just had to learn painful.
We all go through it.
Why didn't I call Garrett first? My wife goes like this today. Hey, before I pay $25K to this thing, can you ask him for some advice? I'm like, yeah, he is staying at my house. Why am I not asking? Oh, you're right, babe. Sorry.
Like, here's 140 savings. So
Yeah, here's 140,000. All right. I called my wife. I'm like, all right, go ahead and pay it. He just saved us 140,000. She goes, that's why I need you to ask. I'm like, dang it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about this? Where do they
So
go?
there's two pieces of the financial health assessment.
Okay.
There's safety and security. So
Safety and security.
Where you set, yes, not set, no, or unsure.
Okay.
Don't get all your documents and cheat. Just go through it and be like, what do you know and what
Be
don't
real.
you know?
Yeah.
And then it just gives you a sense, because there's people that are set, but they don't know it. And then once you know it, it actually creates more financial clarity and more financial strength. Then the next one,
Just to tell a story on that, you helped me in one thing. I bought a practice, and this crazy girl, I didn't even know she was an employee of that practice. But when I took it over, I looked at all the numbers, everything. I called you for some advice. Anyways, I let her go. When she tried suing me, and I went, oh, no, you don't. I literally met with the attorney. I said, hey, this will be the worst decision I could tell you of a friend, blah, blah, blah. She immediately dropped it. I gave her 2 weeks pay, and it was gone. But you said something to me because I called you. I'm like, what the? And he goes, well, you got E&O insurance, right? I'm like, what? You're like, you said, oh, that you could do this insurance, this. You got to make sure that you're insured up right.
yeah, one of our friends, he got in a lawsuit that was like, he was drug into this lawsuit because he's really successful.
Yeah, of course.
And he spent $400,000 defending himself. And when I met with him, I'm like, well, why didn't you use your BOP, your business owner policy? He's like, well, my agent told me I couldn't use it. I said, well, watch this. I'm going to call this savant, call this guy Darren. I'm like, Darren, they have this company. This is the lawsuit that's going on. Would that not be covered? He goes, go to this section, go to this subsection. Here's where it's covered. I'm like, you got to have the right people to know what's going on.
Yep.
It's just.
So I got out of that one lucky. I feel like God's grace was on me. But you're like, you asked me some questions because of this, I'm unsure. I don't know. I went and found the policies, found the right people, everything. 3 years later, when I had some jackwagon trying to do something on a way bigger scale, called my insurance. I had it. They go, yep, we'll handle it for you. And boom.
I remember I had a doctor that was getting sued by an employee, and he was panicking. He drives to the office. He doesn't even live in the same state. And I was like, dude, you've been working with us for years. You own nothing. It's all owned by a trust.
Yeah.
Watch. They're going to come after you. You're going to say, great, I don't own anything. And they're immediately going to try to settle. And even then you're going to say, there's nothing to settle here. And they're going to go away.
That happened?
Yeah. So what I look at,
okay, tell them I interrupted you, so you got to tell them where to go because they're freaking out right now. They don't know where to go.
They should just DM Garrett B. Gunderson on Instagram. And
Okay.
put Maverick Entrepreneur.
Okay.
And we'll hook them up with 2 financial health assessments: safety and security, and money and investing. They don't take long to go through, but they're a game changer because now you're aware. And without awareness, that ignorance costs people financially. With awareness, we can actually make choices. And I remember we had this chiropractor. His name's Chris, and he had only 7 yeses. And within a year, it was 100% yeses. So it doesn't take 30 years.
I got to take a new assessment, dude. What the heck is my problem?
I took it. I had my wife come to one of our workshops years ago. And I was like, all right, we'll just go through everything. And we had a few no's, and we took care of it within a week. I mean, so even me inventing the stuff, things happen over time. You know,
you got to reassess all the time. It's like anything. It's like your health. This is the best shape I've ever seen. What's your body fat right now?
I think it's like 12 right now. Probably.
This is the best shape I've ever seen you in.
Yeah, I mean, it's a formula. If I eat these foods this often, in this quantity, and work out this number of times a week, that's what happens.
But here's why I appreciate you. You are a nerd of success. You so you knew that your marriage was mediocre and it pissed you off, so you became that's it. You became extraordinary at it. With your health. It's not like you just said, I'm going to eat better. You hired a coach. You found out your macros. They ran blood work. They ran all your numbers. You became a scientist over your own health. And then next thing you know, I'm looking at you, you got a 6-pack. I'm like, what the H is my problem?
And now my 2 kids want 6-packs.
And now your 2 kids want 6-pack.
Right.
But here's what I'm saying. You do everything with such the highest level of excellence. That's why you're successful at everything you put your mind to.
I just think it's harder to not do it at excellence than excellence because the pain of regret is so it's so heavy. I
punch myself in the face right now, but I'm forgiving myself.
Well, look, dude, I can't even tell you. If I go back, I always write every day in a 5-minute journal, right? And it's like you review your previous day. And if I went back years to those old journals, what I would write is what would I have improved? I would have eaten better. It just came up over and over again. And so finally, I have this health issue with my kidneys, and I'm like, look, this is no longer a choice.
Yeah.
This is I have to do this.
Yeah.
And what happened was, what would happen in the past is, because I didn't have a plan, my good intentions were overcome by hunger. Now I have a plan. You see, I'm here with food backpacks, two of them, right?
Amazing. You rolled up. I'm like, that's the greatest food backpack.
So
I've ever seen.
So I have everything planned, and the guesswork's gone. So if I'm busy in a day, I was like, I'm gonna have to, and I know not everybody can do this right away, but I hired a house manager. She comes in 5 hours a day. She makes food. So I take care of my breakfast. It's super easy, but she makes my snack before workout. She makes my protein drink after workout. She makes my lunch, and then she prepares the dinner.
Can I interview her?
Yeah, she's great, man.
I'm gonna hire one.
Dude, she's great.
So you call her a house manager?
Mm-hmm. And so she just had surgery, and now Carrie's playing house manager. She's not really happy.
Oh, my wife will kill me if
she's just like, because my boys are eating, a certain meal plan.
Yeah.
And it's really strict. Like, the thing is, if you follow the plan, the results are insane.
Yeah.
Like, it's just.
Well, I'm sick of these young
and
guys.
And I don't crave sugar. I don't crave any sugar.
Yeah.
I used to crave sugar.
Yeah.
I don't, now I'm in a place where I'm not in food scarcity, because I can eat until I'm satiated all the time right now. And even when I eat a lot, I'm not putting on weight. I have to eat so much to put on weight right now. But in the past, it was like, You
sent me a video of you doing pull-ups one time. I go, how is that dude that ripped doing pull-ups?
Dude, it was so much easier. I was 187 pounds on that day, and I couldn't believe how easy pull-ups are. I'm 209 right now because I'm trying to put on weight. Pull-ups are a lot harder now.
Yeah.
But my wife was like, dude, you're skinny and you're hard. Like, I need some, not like, she's like, you feel like a rock.
Yeah.
She's like, it's not fun to cuddle you anymore. And I'm like, but all the dudes are impressed, but my wife is like, I need a little bit more dad bod.
Yeah. Dudes want to see the veins. Your wife's like, that's disgusting.
It did impress my son.
Yeah.
We were at this place, the Wizard Academy. I think you've been there.
Yeah.
And we're working out in the gym there. It's just the two of us. So I take my shirt off, and he's like, dude, I had veins all the way up to my, from the abs up and he's just like, and now he's going for it. And it's, I just think it's fun. It's like a cool game to play.
That's good. You've inspired me.
Yeah,
Wizard Academy. How radical was that experience?
Yeah, dude. So when I wrote Killing Sacred Cows, my literary agent took me to Wizard Academy.
Oh gosh.
And then I've done one-day consults with Roy, who founded it 3 times, I think.
Williams?
And I've been to a bunch of his classes, and
he is wild.
So I took my son to a writing course there.
Did you have purple coffee?
I didn't. I haven't been drinking purple coffee these days.
Wow.
Just coffee.
That was an
They start
experience.
serving wine at 9 a.m.
We rolled up there. We sat down. And he goes, "Hey guys, first thing, let's go down, pick your bottle of wine." I'm like, "What is this?" And he goes, "I need to get you outside the way you regularly do things. This is purple coffee."
Yeah.
So I'm like drinking by 10 a.m. I'm thinking to myself, I need to slow down on purple coffee. But I was thinking so creative. It was a great experience.
I got my whiskey sommelier there.
Yes.
So yeah, they have a whiskey somm class.
Oh, that back room was amazing.
So, yeah.
Yep. Well, listen, if you had to drop, just as we wrap it here, 1 or 2 things that you see out there that is happening that you can help avert to get people not falling into that pit or that trap, what would it be?
Yeah, the 4 things. Number 1, save on tax. An entrepreneur, that's one of their biggest bills, and they just are afraid or they don't have the right team. Second, save on interest. Either restructure loans, renegotiate interest rates, or reallocate funds that are underperforming to pay off higher interest rates. The third is protect the downside of your investments, or cash out investments that don't serve you because they don't represent who you are. And the fourth is only insure catastrophic things, not the inconsequential things, and you'll keep a lot more of the money you make. Those 4 things are 10% of someone's income being lost to inefficiency. They can plug the leaks, put it back in their life, and then they can grow themselves. They can grow their life. They can grow their energy. They can grow their quality of life. That's the
I think, one, you know what you're talking about. If you had to give 2 of your books of the 10 that you've written, what 2 should people pick up right now? And is there a book that you want to give away? Because I know, you have some ebooks that.
All right, so yeah, I could give. What I'll do is I'll give my audiobooks. I'll give 3 audiobooks. These are the trifecta. I call this the Rich Life Bundle.
The Rich Life Bundle.
Sacred Cows 2, the new one.
Yeah.
Money Unmasked, which has the money personas.
Okay.
And What Would the Rockefellers Do? So it's if you put Maverick Entrepreneur, we'll give you a financial health assessment, and we'll give you the books. Those will be the gifts.
Hey, listen, that gift right there alone, you should be saying thank you. And You know, I really appreciate you flying in because I can't stand Zoom podcasts. And no disrespect, but I kind of want
I
to
like the in-person energy.
in person. But to get you and your busy schedule
I
and
couldn't have saved you all the tax on Zoom, man.
bro, you could have. I'm calling you more often. Plus, I got to add value. But I appreciate you coming down. I know
Thanks for
you
having me,
got
man.
some big stuff
Thanks for
going
hosting
on.
me and having me at the house.
And you're flying straight to Arizona to go figure that out.
Yeah.
That's going to be
Out to
cool
Arizona.
with some big hitters. But I want to give you these knives right here. These right here, my buddy Cameron, who I've had on the show, started Tour Knives, is now, never thought he'd be into home decor. But these are custom engraved knives. And these are my favorite. Now that I know you're hunting, I'm glad I picked these ones for
sexy,
you.
man.
So this will skin an elk better than you've ever seen. These are sexy. And we had engraved on their Gunderson Legacy. And these are just a little bit of appreciation because the one thing I love about you, man, you are big into giftology. And we have a mutual friend, John Rulin, you know, that unfortunately passed away, but his company and his legacy lives on. And you turned me on to giftology. And I remember, like, give gifts that matter. You gave me, and I just showed you, I still have it. You gave me a very personalized, you know, to some people this just like a wine opener, but the what you picked, the coal and
Yeah, my dad was a coal miner, so there's the coal on the handle to remind you of all the hard work to get here, but the opener to celebrate the wins along the way.
Bro, I've never forgot that. And so I always just didn't want to like give someone a gift card or send them something. I was like,
Gift cards are like obligations.
yeah.
You know, I just get to take this and enjoy it, and my wife will be like, awesome, because these look super sharp.
That's what I'm talking about. She's gonna go, those are pretty for my kitchen. You're gonna go, I just
Cut up my
carved
papaya with it every morning when I have my papaya.
papaya, bro. I want to hear about it. I want a video of you slicing some elk jerky.
All right, yeah. Dude, I got an elk this year. It was brutal.
Yeah?
It was 20 miles that day that I walked.
No.
These things.
I need to level up my game, man. That's
Yeah.
it. But I do appreciate you. Been a lot of friend for a lot of years. I think we need to go on some adventures.
We've had some good adventures.
Good adventures.
Always fun.
I missed
you always bring the joy, man.
Or the
One of my favorite
chiropractic
nights
table.
is the comedy store. You doing comedy, me doing it, and then we did the event here the next day. But that comedy was like such a peak night, man.
We got to figure out how to do another comedy show.
Yeah, dude.
I got new material.
I'll roast you.
Oh, gosh.
I've roasted a lot of people you know.
Really?
I roasted Joe Polish.
You did?
I have that. I roasted Dan Martell. He had to change his book.
No.
Because he sent me the manuscript, and I went through it so harsh. We're good friends, and I've roasted Yannick Silver, if you know Yannick. I've roasted, Mike Klein. I've roasted.
I don't know Mike
I roasted
Klein.
this guy, Ron Carson, after he had a massive transaction selling part of his business to Bain and Company, and roasted him in front of 2,000 people in the Cosmo.
Has any of them got tweaked, like offended tweaked?
Mike Geary?
Yep.
I was probably the nicest roaster I ever did, and he wasn't tweaked, but he's like, hey, just make sure that everybody knows how nice I am to these women. And I was like, okay, buddy.
Oh my God, I'm nervous. If you say
I
you're
went a
gonna
little
roast it-
hard in the paint on Yannick, but he was a good sport about it. I had to pull back a little bit.
Dude,
Yeah.
one of
I've done,
my
I think, about 20 roasts so far.
friends is brilliant, like you.
Oh, you know Sapio? You heard Sapio
Oh,
roast.
Sapio, yeah,
one
I
of
heard that one,
One of
dude.
our friends that died. He wanted a liver let die roast, and I went all
Hard
in the paint, and I just kept watching his face, and he was hysterically laughing. He loved it.
Some people can't handle that, man. But I'll tell you, I got roasted on my wedding night. It was a speech by one of my guys, and people didn't know how to take it. If I watch it on video, I cry now. Half the family was so offended they never talked to him again. But it was the funniest roast.
Do you know Ian Stanley, the comedian that's my buddy?
No.
I roasted him the day after his comedy special, and he was just sinking in his chair like this the whole time. And then, it's just fun, man. I love a good roast.
You know what?
I won't roast women. That's my main rule.
Yeah.
Won't
I'm
roast
gonna be brave enough one day. I'm gonna let you roast me in front of people I care about. So maybe that will be.
There's a lot of material there, man.
Oh, fuck.
It would be so fun.
It would be so scary, actually. All right, man. Well, hey, listen, everybody. This is Garrett Gunderson. And what's your new website? What's your new?
GarrettGunderson.com.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that makes
I bought
it easy.
it from a dude named Garrett Gunderson that had my name and had like a resume up there. And someone's like, I expected more from your website. And I'm like, all right, dude, what are you gonna get me for? I need to buy my name. So
How much did he sell it to you for?
15 grand, not bad.
Oh,
I'll take it.
wow. Dang.
Yeah.
I'm so cheap.
So
I just
made
told
sure
you I had
that-
to pound sand, and it was
I
way less.
immediately got my son's websites that day.
That is
It's
smart.
like, yeah.
Dang it. That right there is a tip for me. Well, listen, everybody, we love you. This was part 2 of the Maverick Entrepreneur with Garrett Gunderson. Stay tuned. Follow the links. Get involved. Send them those codes. Get those free books. And I'm going to tell you, one of those books will change your life, not let alone 3 of them blow you away. So stay tuned. Yeah, man. Enjoy those knives. And my buddy, that's Titan Zeus right there. So enjoy them. We'll see you on the next episode of the Maverick Entrepreneur.
I am a factor. Got a dream.